Okay, hey. Welcome back to the Pohada Podcast. As usual, Matt Browse, the host of these conversations. I have a limp microphone here. Bear with me a second. Clankety clank. All right, it's been a while. I'd like to say that a full-length conversation episode with a black belt or somebody else interesting hasn't gone up because I've been overly busy developing my jiu-jitsu game. It's definitely not the case. Not totally for lack of trying, but it's definitely not the case. I'd like to say that I've been busy enhancing the YouTube channel for the Pohada Podcast. Lots of good video content. There's a couple of videos up, but it's honestly not enough to account for the lack of full-length conversation episodes. So it's basically, I'm a millennial, I guess. Maybe not laziness, but being disorganized. Anyhow, BSing with the black belt. Another full-length conversation episode with someone who's been in the game a really long time, and he's been all over geographically. Got a taste of different regions of jiu-jitsu. Got a lot of good history with jiu-jitsu. Mr. Fabio Morescalchi. I think that's how I say it. He hails out of Bellum Jiu-Jitsu here in the Twin Cities, Minnesota, USA. Without further ado, my conversation with Fabio. All right, man. First things first. Say that last name.
Morescalchi.
Morescalchi.
And I never use it. Too many letters, man.
Yeah? I would have guessed that. I should have guessed it. Make myself look good here at the start of this thing.
We could start over.
No, it's okay, man. There's no starting over. There's no tapping out. As we were walking up here, you said 30 years of training jiu-jitsu.
Yes. That's about right. And
as a guy with 3, I'm blown away by that. Is that on and off? Or is that
mostly continuous? I had some off time. I did judo before that for 5 years, other martial arts and all that sort of stuff. But the jiu-jitsu stuff, pretty steady for that long. I just did mostly teaching and didn't have a coach for myself for promotions, things like that. So it's just keep plugging away, and eventually something happens. So.
And my extensive recording research, which was, reading your profile on Instagram or whatever, 5 minutes ago, brown belt in judo.
It's more like rust belt. It's pretty. That was a long time ago.
Oh, sure. So you don't currently do a lot of the way of judo.
I still do judo and I love takedowns.
Sure.
Anything that gets the fight to the ground, so to speak, that works. So I started martial arts. Well, let me throw a question back at you. Why did you start martial arts? All that. Sorry, throw this.
No. It's good. I love it. I probably cite a number of reasons. Chief amongst them was a long time interest that I never actually acted on. Mm-hmm. And I was well out of the competitive phase with strength athletics and stuff. Mm-hmm. So it was okay, we're cruising in on mid 30s into 40s at this point. Let's keep doing stuff. Okay. So second would be, it had been a long time since I was just new at something. Mm-hmm. It'd been a long time since I walked in a room and didn't know what the fuck was going on. Mm-hmm. And I, as a guy who coaches people still, I think that's a valuable perspective. Mm-hmm. Those are kind of the 2 big ones.
So sport activity. Mm-hmm. So what got me into it was I wanted to learn how to fight. Simple as that. You're a kid, the very stereotypical at that time was Bruce Lee, Enter the Dragon, all those martial arts.
Yep. We had a lot of imagery back then.
Yes. And but it was about learning how to fight. And over the years and the beatings, the many, many beatings, and the harsh coaching, is still that concept of, why am I doing this? First and foremost, I want to be able to protect myself and my loved ones. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I started with judo, with, and a lot of my sparring partners after that were hillbilly redneck wrestlers, and they're all state champs and college champ, so it was like, and then there's me.
Sure.
So I got the judo aspect from my coaches Al Reyes and Scott McQuarrie, who later went on to coach Chael Sonnen and all that sort of stuff. And Scott's a great coach and all that. So, but so I started with judo, and the mentality was always that. It was always, why are we doing, that sort of, and we didn't say, oh, we have to be macho and fight. Mm-hmm. But realistically, it's like, well, you're learning a martial art, you're learning how to fight. So, and he wasn't very sensitive as far as like, nowadays it's like, oh, you have to kind of bring people along nicely and sweet talk. And basically whenever he criticized me, is like, Fabio, that looks like crap. Not in those words, but, do it this way. Okay, this is how he wants it done. No hurt feelings. It's just, let's just get the job done. He's telling me this for a reason. I'm going to listen to him. And that helped me improve, because it cut right to the chase. Let me tell you, that approach doesn't work that great on that many people nowadays.
No, I don't think so.
No, it's like, I have to be a little bit more sensitive, and, because, and that's perfectly okay, because some people don't respond to that. Maybe if it had a different kind of history, that sort of thing needs to be, they need to be worked in, and that's perfectly fine.
Sure,
right?
Sure.
That's just how I grew up, is like, well, that looks like crap. Do it this way. All right. No problem.
It's objectively accurate. This was crappy. Do it again.
Yeah, pretty much.
It isn't particularly flowery, though, like you said.
Yeah, it was just right to the chase. So.
Do you think it doesn't work so well in more people nowadays? Or it's always been true, and we just do a better job of bringing people in, keeping them in?
I think the phrasing is different. Nowadays it's there's a customer service aspect to it.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Back when we started, it was more just the people who want to scrap, go, and whatever. And so nowadays it's more appealing to a wider range of people. And as such, you have to understand that it's like a wider range of people means you have to be able to learn and talk and deal with all that, right? Yeah. So I know who I can talk to like that. And usually if it's like a tournament or something like that, getting ready for tournament prep, that sort of thing, I don't want to waste either of our time by finding the right words or all this or that. That being said, when I'm in class and teaching a wider range of people, I know this person has a history with this sort of thing. I'm going to approach them differently, because that's what they need to learn and grow and improve, and that's what they need to hear. I think that's great nowadays, because you have to connect more with more people with a wider range and understand what they need. Some people need more. Other people they'll be like, dude, just tell me what I need. I can do that.
Yeah.
So I think it's great that it forces people to connect more with a wider range now.
And that allows more people to learn how to defend themselves.
Yeah. And with that, I mean, it's like, back in the day, back when I was in the NOM. Okay, I wasn't in the NOM. But, back when I was starting, and we didn't have a whole lot of jiu-jitsu coaches in Oregon. That's where I started out, right? So they would go out, get information, bring it back from some of the coaches or occasional seminar. Back in the day, you just had to survive. That was the thing. You show up, you survive. And I survived, but man, I've got some injuries lingering from that long ago. Sure. And so many people that could have been just phenomenal, great even, just got beat down,
right.
And they were brought up with that really old school, dude, if you want to do this, you have to live through it. Oh, man. Nowadays, hopefully that they've learned from that. Now we're able to progress people better with better instruction. It's a wider, it's a broader sport and art and all this. And now we can bring more people up, and they can be absolutely great and fantastic out there on the mat, whether it's teaching, fighting, whatever, and honestly, when I started, I know I've ground people out where they didn't come back, and reflecting, It's like, But I was also younger and maybe a little stupid. I don't know.
You didn't know any better yet.
Didn't know any better. Yeah. It took me a while of growing and learning and all that sort of stuff. Before it's
say that judo coach's name again.
Scott McQuarrie.
Scott McQuarrie. And was that at a gym back then?
Oregon Judo Jiu-Jitsu, OJJ, old school Oregon Judo Jiu-Jitsu.
That's the first spot. That's where you originally started everything.
I've always been a martial arts kind of tramp. That was one of my main ones. The other one was with Matt Thornton and Straight Blast. So I went to both concurrently.
Okay.
So for a long time, trained with Scott, and then I wanted to do more fighting, getting a feeling and understanding of that.
So then SBG,
Straight Blast Gyms, Matt Thornton.
They got a bunch of them now. Is this the one I'm thinking of?
Yes. Conor McGregor, all that sort of stuff. In Ireland.
Andy Stumpf, the Cleared Hot podcast, I think talks about them. Anyway, it's proliferated. It's a big deal. It seems like.
Yeah, and so those were my two, right? And back then, Jesus,
it's right.
God damn it,
it's right.
Back then it was like, and there's a little bit of that now. But it was really frowned upon if you went to another gym and shared information or rolled or whatever. Sure. Some places weren't happy that, dude, if you go over there, don't show anything. Okay, but they're gonna figure it out when I keep doing this over and over. They'll fit those. But it's like, hey, they're my friends. I'm gonna go to that gym anyway, and I've known them for years. So,
and also what I might bring back is only gonna expand the game. Mm-hmm. It's something of a fair trade. If you show up somewhere else, you offer something, you probably take something, right?
Oh yeah, and so we were doing that. And all the time, just training in both gyms and go out to other places and all that sort of stuff. So those were my two primary places. Started with Oregon, then a lot with Straight Blast gyms. And let me tell you, I learned the difference between martial arts and fighting. It's the first night of like one of the instructor courses, I took a beating, and it's like, oh, this is different. I can't come in here, flap my feet or whatever and point. Man, I got gut punched really good by he's now Professor Tom Oberhue, and like he held me up. He's like, just keep going. I'm like, just keep going. Okay.
You can't go when I can't breathe, man. Right?
Yeah, but he held me up a little bit and talked me through it, but it was full contact right off the bat. And I was like, okay, I've learned something here, which is the whole purpose of wanting to learn a martial art and self-defense and all that sort of stuff. So definitely it is still very heavy on that you will need to survive sort of aspect. But I learned a lot. So.
Yeah. Articulate for me the difference, like succinctly or not succinctly, between martial arts and fighting.
Well, for me it was like, hey, I'm learning these moves, I'm coming in, I'm doing this these kicks, and I'm hitting this person and stop, right? But it wasn't that full contact thing. It was it was missing that full contact aspect of fighting. So I was doing martial arts and all that. Again, it's still very early on.
Yeah.
But it was I'm doing it, I'm learning an art sort of thing without learning the practical application and what it means when you punch somebody or get punched or get beaten down post into post. So for me, that was very insightful.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I'll still get people to come up, well, what if I do this and this and this? That looks great. That's good for you. And I encourage it. If that's what you want to do, that's great. If you're wanting to learn how to fight, a lot of the rules change with what you can and can't do.
Sure.
Especially if you know someone who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
You can do all the flashy stuff. I've taken people down, people have taken me down, and then it's like, well, now what do I need to do? And then when my friends jump in on me, it's like, oh crap, now I have to deal with 3 or 4 people. So I'm not picking on one side or the other, but there's a different understanding of when you're getting hit full contact and knowing what you need to do in that, right? So for me, it was the difference of I'm learning a move set, I'm learning how to move, and then being able to apply it. I mean, it's all martial arts, it really is, but
Sure.
just that difference of I got punched in the face.
It's kind of the last 10%.
Yeah.
Like, we're all practicing all the same stuff, and some people are experiencing that last 10% where once in a while something lands, once in a while they hit the ground hard, and there's that taste of violence, I guess.
Yeah, and that'll change a lot of what you might think of. It's like, well, I was going to do this really cool spinning back, and all of a sudden now they're catching you and throwing you on the ground, and it's like, I can't do the spinny thing. I want to do the spinny thing. But you get to learn what you can do and what you can't do, and then you start to learn the timing, and then you build it back up to put the cool stuff in and all that sort of stuff. But for me, that was a big eye opener.
Sure.
Sorry, another story.
Yes, please.
God damn it!
That's what we're here for.
I have too many stories.
No, let's go, man. That's what we're here for.
So back in the day, I was in the ring with Matt Thornton, and Matt Thornton is 6'7", and so he's like way up there. And I didn't know any better, so I'm watching the Pride fights, whatever we can get on tape, VHS, that can come in and we can pirate and share, right? So I'm watching all these Brazilians. They have their hands up, and then they do their little foot kicky thing, and then they shoot it. And he's like, don't put your hands out like that. I go, why not? Okay, so we're in the ring. So we start on one side, right? And so, all right, put your hands up. You ready? I say, yeah, I'm ready. Let's go. My hands are all the way out here. So right away, kicks me in the head and starts punching me down and just plants me like a nail. Just punches me down into one post. I'm like, all right, I'm getting back up. Do it again. So I do the thing. Same thing. Kicks me in the head, punches me down like a nail into the second post. Third time, I get up. Okay, after the third time, I'm being pounded down by a nail, and everybody kind of stopping in the gym to kind of go, what's going on? He's like, you get it? Yeah. And so then after that point, I keep my hands in, they're covering my chin and all that sort of stuff, and I protect the brain pan. But it was, and don't get me wrong, he didn't beat the crap out of me. He could have made my life a lot worse. He could have just beat just stuffing out of me. It was just enough to get the point across, or it was pound, 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 get back up, pound, pound, pound. But when somebody 6'7" is punching down on you, it's like
quite literally, like hammering a nail.
Yeah. So I learned my lessons, right? But it was again, it wasn't like abuse, or it was just enough to get me to realize why we put our hands up, why we keep that in, and not to believe every fight you watch on TV and all that.
And there's a spectrum. Like, some things will work fine against someone of a different skill set, or no skill set, or a low skill set. So the insurance is do the best version of it you can. Keep your damn hands up and in.
Yeah, that saves a lot of time.
Yeah, for sure. Tell me about judo. You compete in judo way back then?
I did a few tournaments. It's but they're all pretty minor. Mainly it's just a lot of training, and you get thrown a lot, you get back up, and then you do it again, and you get thrown a lot. But I mean, that's really it. But I mean, I really enjoyed it. It's like jiu-jitsu. There's that something about that combative aspect that you get that just keeps pulling you back in, and some people are like, I don't like that. I don't want to do that. But you just keep going back. It's that fight. It's that I want to scrap.
Sure.
The ability to take somebody down is awesome. That's why I like that. I like wrestling. The jiu-jitsu is good too, because you still get that scrap. It's just in some aspects it's easier in the body.
There's less landing.
Pardon me?
There's less landing.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I can't do the old school judo training of like throw after throw after throw. Sure. It's like I have to go to the chiropractor the next day. It's like get adjusted. It's like, oh, I can't move. But I can do lots of live takedowns, and like we start most of our training at the gym by standing up.
Sure.
So it's so there, I mean, there's not much to tell on the judo aspect of it, because we did a little competing, did throws and all that, and it was just get back up, get thrown back down again. I was fortunate enough that with Scott, he is aware enough to pay attention to, what's going on. Oh, this guy, we did a lot more groundwork than a lot of other judo gyms. So we were very fortunate in that aspect. So already when I went other places, I already had a little bit of a hands up, so to speak, as far as understanding some groundwork.
Yeah.
And then when all the Gracie stuff started coming about and all that sort of stuff, I think I hadn't been doing judo for a while just due to injuries. I was in a garage with Dave Minden, who is about 6'3", big tall fellow, and judo black belt, traditional jiu-jitsu black belt. But he is another guy where it was his paying attention to what's coming out and what people are doing for submissions and all that sort of stuff. So, and back then you had the Gracie tapes that came out, and then you watched them, you rewound them, and then you move your buttocks over here, you put your leg over, and then you get the top. And then you rewind it, you move, and it is the same thing over and over. And, so information was pretty limited. But yeah, it was. Yeah. And then after that, we slowly started getting gyms and all that. So it was different.
Yeah. So what year you started jiu-jitsu?
Jiu-jitsu-ish.
Yeah, kind of jumped in on it.
I'm horrible with the years, but I'm going to say around 93, 94-ish.
Wow.
And then judo before that, but and that's a rough estimate because I'm horrible with time.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, way back. Again, that's farther back than I think anybody I've talked to.
Yeah,
on this show.
Yeah. And I think that it was, I want to say before the first UFC, maybe it was close to around that time. So
what is that? Yeah, it isn't 93, 94 somewhere
in there. So it's been a while.
It's been a minute.
So it's
still like
at least two.
Still like it? Still in?
I'm still in. I'm kind of getting annoyed with some of the sport aspect. Again, I started this because I wanted to learn how to protect myself and my wife and all that sort of stuff. And so some of the sport things are like, why? There's a lot of, God, I sound old on some of these.
Yes, I love it.
Right now, my current pet peeve is sitting down in front of your opponent. Jesus. All right. It just, and I have a couple reasons for that.
Sure. Let's hear it. Yeah.
First of all, and don't get me wrong, I understand it's part of the sport and there's fantastic guard players, I want to scrap with you. I want to see if I can take you down. Yeah. I want to get that takedown or engage in some fashion. I don't care if you pull guard. I mean, I'll talk crap about it all the time, but there's a difference between pulling, I call it active and passive. Sitting down in front of someone is passive, and now you're relying on your guard to be that much better than their passing abilities. To do it. And maybe you're great. That's fine. I don't care. Active guard pulling is where you're sliding in, you're going right in for a sweep, an attack, an armbar, heel. That's fine. That's, for me, as a bear strike. You're attacking. I'm a fan of attacking. And takedowns. I love takedowns and the opportunity. Now, one of the other big reasons, one is you've just taken me the chance away to get the takedown, and I really want it. I like to scrap. I grew up with hillbilly wrestlers, judo guys, and we want to do that, but, and don't get me wrong, I pull guard all the time. I'm extremely lazy when it comes down to it. I'll do whatever's easiest, but at least try a foot sweep. I'll fake a foot. Okay, then I'll do something.
Sure. Yeah. Keep a little bit of the purity of the fight in the sport.
Yeah, and it's just a personal preference.
Sure,
right?
Sure.
So when I'm coaching someone, it's like I will figure out what the best tools are for them. And there you go. I may not like the best tools that are for them, but it's theirs to figure out. I'll just give them crap later. But the other reason that I push takedowns a lot is pulling guard is so damn easy, and there's a lot of success with it, that people forget to either start training other takedowns and throws and being able to deal with someone in a standing fashion. And then it becomes scary. And then people are scared of those things. Mm-hmm. And I can't allow that. I need you to at least understand the stand-up game, because you're not always going to have the option to sit down in front of someone. Hey, let's bar fight. I'm going to sit down. Hey, come here. Yeah. And then
that Simpsons bit, the one nerdy guy on The Simpsons years ago, they referenced jiu-jitsu, and he's laying on his back and he says, "Climb atop me and meet your doom."
I haven't seen that. Now I have to look it up. Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of like that. It's like, I want them not to have to be afraid of it, because you can train takedown smart, intelligently, not get hurt. And then learning how to apply it in those self-defense aspect situations. Sure. I don't want you to be afraid of anything. So for me, that's why just sitting down in front of someone is like, I want to scrap. Stand up. Let's go. I don't care if you beat me. I don't give a crap. But I want that opportunity to engage in some fashion instead of, oh, now you're sitting down. And not even going to try.
And like you say, in a bar or something, that'd be a weird move. Sit down on the sticky ground.
Well, it might be enough to where it's like, what's he doing? I'm gonna but active guard pulling, you're coming in, you're attacking, you're doing, I love attacking, right? Sure. So I'll come in, shoot into a sweep, I used to be good at doing the flying arm bars. Now I'm a big old fat bastard. Mm-hmm. So it's like, maybe I'll skip the flying arm bar, but rolling leg locks, leg entanglements. But you're attacking.
You can actively attack.
I don't like waiting, so it's like, again, it's a personal preference. I don't give a crap what any of my students do as long as they're happy. Yeah. But I'm always going to try and teach you takedowns and throws and cheap shots. Nice. Poke them in the eye, kick them in the nut.
I don't think kicking them in the nuts is in the rule set.
I was trying for a foot sweep.
Yeah. Okay. His intentions matter, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And again, that's a joke where I always, make sure that everybody plays fair and by the rules and all that sort of stuff.
I actually like that because I've been working on some foot sweeps.
Oh, foot sweeps are awesome.
So a little sneaky nut shot that'll spice the game up a little bit.
There you go. Just a little boop. Oh, sweep. There we go.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying. I like all that. I'm drawn personally to the kind of the old school purity. The sport should reflect fighting a little bit, but the technical, all the weird bottom up entanglements from guard are pretty fucking amazing. Like the stuff that would look ridiculous to see happening. And, people, the rough ground and all that nonsense, it's still just, it's like watching science work, like somebody making physics breakthroughs or something. It's pretty amazing to watch.
It's fantastic. I mean, what folks are coming up with now, I mean, it's great. I'm a fan of movement, right? It's, I love movement, coming around, all this sort of stuff. And there are some fantastic players. They'll move all over the place and they'll come up with weird upside down things. I'm so beat up where if I try and roll on my neck now, my head's going to pop off, leg's going to go that way, and it's just not going to be pretty. But some of the movement, if you're doing movement for understanding movement and how the body works and all that, that's great. But damn, sometimes it just seems so unnecessary. Mm-hmm. And again, this is just me being old and bitter and just a grumpy bastard. Yeah. But
a percentage of the audience is right there with you. A percentage of the audience is just shaking their head. It's all good,
Yeah, and that's fine. But it's like I see these combinations of like, I'll go over here, I'll spin, I'll roll and take, and a lot of guys I know are like, move the leg over, take the back. Mm-hmm.
Move your hips. Back to the basic tapes.
Yeah, but learning that movement is fantastic. I mean, I see some great movement out of people, and that goes a long way because you understand what to do when you're in weird, funky positions. Mm-hmm. It's just, for me, I'm at the point I just want to be practical. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I used to do all the weird whatever, right? It's like, no, it's like, I'm the grumpy old, I just don't want to deal with it. Come here, you smash. Yeah. And then pass them and do whatever. I
like the point you made about, because the guard is the thing. if you can retain a guard, any guard, but certainly a few key guards, that's in the thing in the lore of jiu-jitsu, at least Gracie jiu-jitsu, right? And everybody works to develop a guard. So if I can sit down or pull guard passively or actively and use that guard, the point you were making, I think, was that it can be so effective for what it is, but you can end up with glaring weak spots. The takedown thing is kind of what you're referencing. That might be more legitimately realistic to the self-defense thing.
Yeah.
So you can get so good at this element on nice cushy mats with mostly willing partners, right, that you completely forget. Because my reason zero of trying any martial art, but specifically jiu-jitsu and stuff, was the self-defense thing. It's like, if I ever need to step in to help somebody else or help myself, what can I do? And up until 3 years ago, it was be big and scary and kind of strong. Okay.
Well, and you used to powerlift,
that could work. Yeah.
So you could pick them up and toss them out of the way.
As long as they're reasonably compliant, once they start swinging and stuff, So I kind of like that fact of, like, we're so obsessed with playing guard, so much so that we start matches and rounds that way, that how much are we actually completely missing out on relative to the real life use of the martial arts.
Again, it's just such a small part of it, but for me, it's important because, and I say this a lot, it's what you're doing is you're learning a martial art, and in the back of your mind, there should always be that little voice that says it's a fight. And then if you keep that in mind, then the transition to go from sport jiu-jitsu to fighting jiu-jitsu, that's easy. Then it's like, oh, this is serious. This is why I'm training this. What does a choke do? A choke relieves someone unconscious. I'm not waiting for a tap. If we scrapped into it and I got lucky enough to be able to choke you and you tap, I'm not letting go. It's not a sport. You tried to hurt me. What happens if I don't care about your tap? Then you're awake. I'm going to rifle, or you're asleep. I'm going to rifle through your wallet, take your phone, you're going to get some weird pictures on that phone. But, people have to realize it's not just going to be, oh, I'm going to tap and they're going to let go.
Yeah.
If you always keep that mentality, then you can switch from the sport to a self-defense situation with no problem.
Sure.
But if you never think about that, oh, I choked him out and he tapped and wait, you let the guy go? Now he's going to stab you or punch you or whatever.
Right.
He's got friend.
Right.
First and foremost, I want to protect my students and friends.
Yeah.
I want them to be able to protect themselves. So, maybe it sounds way old school or something like that. I don't give a rat's ass.
Yeah.
If I can, I've had people come back and say, hey, I used this at the correctional office, and I was able to control him and do this. Abusive husband, the wife chokes him out, or what, and I'll get these stories on occasion where this happened. And because they were able to keep that awareness of what we're doing for a reason, they got to be able to get out of those situations. Sure. I'm happy. You can call me old. I don't give a rat's ass as long as you get to go home at the end of the night. I will teach you everything that I can. I don't hold anything back, and I will teach you all the dirty stuff that stuff.
Because that stuff is going to be useful. Hopefully never, right? But
hopefully never.
Yeah.
But then we can talk about the sport and all that sort of stuff. Pulling guard. I was going with this young punk, Alex Kim, and he's, young, athletic, and he's like working the takedowns. I just pull guard. He's like, did you just pull guard? It's like, yeah, I'm not proud. I don't care. I'll pull guard. Even after I told you not to. And he's like, son of a bitch. So, that's just playing. That's jiu-jitsu. You have fun, or that's the sport. Have fun. Try everything. It's the student's job to figure it out and grow. The coach can give them all the information that they want, but it's their journey. You guys figure it out.
Well, and in that specific case, that's a lesson in picking the right tactic.
So, yeah.
I'm a beat up old body. I'm not going to, stand with you and take that
tired. I got a sprained ankle, turf toe, bad neck, my shoulder's jacked. You know what? Come here, punk.
Yeah. Do you have turf toe?
Yeah, I was doing lots of double legs.
Yeah. See?
Pushing off of
Pull guard, yeah.
So it's like, you know what? Screw it. Come here.
I hear that hurts like hell.
Yeah, and then well, that's what beer's for.
Yes. Yes.
So
100%.
So that's a cure all.
That's how you make it through. Yeah.
But when I see students, like I said, I don't care about it. But when I see students like pick something and then they do it, then they progress, and I see those success. Oh man, that makes me so happy.
Yeah, man.
It's like I see them going for something. It's like, hey, we just went over that in class. I'm saying, oh, they almost got it. Oh, I'm gonna shut up because I don't want to ruin it. They got it. Yeah. It's like, so good job. It
does feel good to be able to learn something, do it, and then share it with somebody else and have them have that same experience.
Yeah. And then just seeing them, light up. It's like, yeah, that's my first submission. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
It just makes me very happy.
Yeah, man, it feels real good. How long were you to black belt then?
I've been black belt 6 years this last March. So as blue belt for probably 10-ish or something like that.
Nice. Yeah. Just because of the availability of instructors and gyms and all that, right?
Yeah, availability and all that sort of stuff. And
I'm on forever blue belt because I'm trash at jiu-jitsu.
Just keep showing up.
I got all kinds of access to professors and stuff. I'm just terrible.
Nah, you just sit on top of somebody and smash them. You'll be fine and progress.
It's actually working okay so far. It's actually working out all right. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep going. Tell me the journey to black belt.
Let's see. Oregon started with OJJ, old school. OJJ, and then SBG. And then at the time, that's where I got my blue belt. And now, before I diverge onto other things, and at the time, Matt Thornton had brought up Chris Howder. Do you know who he is?
Yep.
All right. So Chris Howder, he's still one of my favorites just because wealth of knowledge. He's stories, wealth of knowledge, and he's just he's the mindset that I like, same with straight blast gyms, all that sort of stuff. He's got the get on top, stay on top and all that, but he is the one that Matt brought up to do the promotions for straight blast gyms at the time. And so there's a handful of us, and we got our blue belts through him and all that. So we compete a lot. Lots of tournaments, drove places and all that sort of stuff to get to as many as we could. So after that, there was I moved to Tacoma, Washington. Don't go to Tacoma, Washington. Anyway, so then
no plans.
Yeah, you can drive past. There's gig harbors, but so then I was with Marcelo Alonso for like 6 months to a year or something like that. So that's where I got like 4 stripes on my blue belt. Marcelo is a funny guy. He's your typical Brazilian guy, and he's like, oh, Fabio, you roll with me a little. We go light. I hurt my neck, and so we go light. And next thing I know, I'm in a knife fight because it's like, holy crap, I'm just trying to do everything I can to survive. And he's just tearing me a new one. And he's still holding back because, it's like, then I put your arm over here, I crush you, I do this and choke you out. He wasn't even trying. He's like, oh, we go light. I hurt my neck. And then he destroys me. It's like, you bastard.
Those are my favorite guys in the gym. The guys that, oh, you want a flow roll? And then a couple minutes in, you're like, this is a fucking flow roll.
He didn't even have to bring up his neck. It's like, dude, you're just going to trash me anyway. But super nice guy. And like, he wasn't doing anything like, off. He is just letting me know, hey, I got an injury. Let's roll. And, but I was just trying to hang on for dear life, trying to whatever. It's such a cool experience because like, dude, I'm getting owned. Yeah. How weird is that? It's like, I'm getting owned. I'm excited about it. Right. It's like, but you're learning so much when you're getting your ass handed to you. It's like, this is cool.
Because it's an expression of your future, hopefully. Like I'll be able to do a little bit of this. Yeah.
I mean, he's a great coach, super nice guy. And you'll have to. I'm not even gonna apologize. I do crappy accents.
I was actually gonna interrupt at some point and say that's so far the best Brazilian accent I've heard on the show. I think it's pretty good. You can tell you've done it a time or two, actually.
Now I have to wait for getting some angry calls from, let's see, Joao and Marcelo Nunez. Oh, Fabio, when I come up, we're gonna have a little talk. You know, it's
pretty good.
shit. They're gonna kick my ass. See, because Marcelo sounds different. A big guy, big voice. You know, and all. So, God, he's gonna hurt me. But
a short time there with him though. Did you move or something again?
Well, from there we moved from Tacoma to Minneapolis, actually Brooklyn Park, and then I kind of just ended up teaching pretty close to right off the bat over at Minnesota Kali Group for about 17 years.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's a big long stint.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's a long time. And then at some point during that. I brought out my friend Tom Obi, who I briefly mentioned earlier. He's the one who gut punched me. Thanks, Tom. And I was like, but I brought him out because he is a black belt by then, like first or second degree and all that. So I had him out for a few seminars. Fantastic instructor, super detailed. If you want someone who will like just break everything down analytically or whatever you need, he does an amazing job with that. Fantastic.
Does he have content out there? Has he got like a YouTube or Instagram or anything? Or
I don't know.
Sure.
But Tom Oberu, Five Rings Jiu-Jitsu, absolutely a fantastic coach. But I had him out a few times, and then I got promoted to purple belt under him. And then after a while, like he is over in Oregon. Obviously, it's a little harder to get him on a regular basis. So John Dornick, who is one of the guys at the MKG, Minnesota Kali Group, got together with Chris McKeown. So I'm a black belt under Chris McKeown, Higa Machado, same as that other bald bastard Roland. Hey, Roland. So we got our black belts the same time. But and I had seen about Chris at first, and I was like, because at first his gym was called No Rules Martial Arts or something like that. I was like, God, I've already been through that. I've already been through no rules and getting my ass in. But apparently that's not what it meant. There's no rules. You can't do this or that. So it's supposed to be originally that kind of kept me away until one of the guys said, hey, here's Chris. Once I actually got a chance to talk to him and, and actually get to know him, my first thing that I wanted for the students there is, to make sure that they have a coach that didn't just grind them out. Crap, they already had me. But I wanted somebody that when I actually talked to him, he cares about his students. He really does. Yeah. And so it's like, all right, that's what sold me on getting an affiliation with him in the gym and all that sort of stuff. And then I got my brown belt through Chris and eventually my black belt and all that sort of stuff. So that's been my journey.
Did you say you got your black belt with Roland, or was it around the same time?
Nope, same day.
Nice.
So
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah. We both had knee injuries. We both had two bald, gimpy guys getting beat up for a while and all that sort of stuff. So
limping into black belt.
Limping into we're coming in, but we're sliding that car and it's rolling. It's on fire, but we made it. So yeah. So that was so then I went with Chris. So
sure. So where are you teaching now? You're at Bellum teaching?
I did. So I left Minnesota Kali Group, started something else that decided to part ways after about a year with those guys, and it's let's see. Sore subject, so I'm going to just leave it at the gym that shall not be named. Sure. But so once I left them, is like I was pretty much actually planning on being done teaching and just, go roll every once in a while. So at one point connected with Zhao a little bit over at Rio. And super welcoming, really nice guy and all that sort of stuff. And so I trained there for a little bit, and I'd known Derek for a while. Excuse me, I'm going to take a sip here.
Yeah. Derek Barlow.
Yep. So I'd known him for a while because we'd been rolling like Saturday mornings, all that sort of stuff, doing early morning sessions. But so I'd been training there at Rio for a bit, but then he's like, dude, my business partner's leaving and I need a coach. And I'm like, well, what about this guy? What about this guy? Are you sure you don't want? So when a friend asks for help, and if I can manage it and it's something I can do, I'll help. So he asked me to teach, and partly also because after leaving that place, it was, there's depression and all that sort of stuff. It was like, well, I'm not teaching, I'm not doing anything, all that sort of stuff. And I think he also probably kind of saw that. So one is he needed a coach. Two is like, you could probably stand to be a little bit doing something.
There's a difference between being like burnt out or done with a thing versus burnt out or done with that version or that location of the thing.
That version and that location it's done. I've stabbed it, put a stake in it, set it on fire, and kicked it off a bridge.
But then you realize, okay, I still need the jiu-jitsu. I still want the teaching.
I still need the jiu-jitsu and the teaching and the violence.
Yeah.
So it turned out, I went over there and, started coaching, and they haven't gotten rid of me yet. So, and Derek's a really good dude, right? So it's, if his online Facebook persona, he's brash and whatever, he's a good dude. If you have, just talk to the guy. He's a really nice guy. Always cares about his students, which is something I look for and all that sort of stuff, and people. And, he's a family guy, super hard, one of the hard workingest guys I know. But I've been coaching there for the last couple of years. Sure. Pandemic.
Pre or post?
Pre, then the pandemic.
Sure.
Then, of course, nobody was training during that time.
Zero,
and they were staying at home.
100%.
So whether I was or was, doesn't matter. I just like putting posts up about it. It's wasn't training, all this, because that's BS. So many people were.
Speakeasy culture came back.
Oh yeah, totally. And even when I wasn't training, because I did my best to hold out, because I was like, I want my wife to be comfortable and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, but kind of push buttons a little bit every once in a while. So I made little speakeasy jiu-jitsu things and put them up there just to, because there's just so many that were like, oh yeah, don't do this, but secretly they were.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was like, really? So, but for so many people, they needed that, right? They didn't have other forms of things, whether it's your socializing or that exercising. So, fine, go ahead. I'm not going to judge you for it. Yeah. And so many people were like so judgmental. Even if you had a different opinion on something, right? It's like, wow, all of a sudden I'm disowned or this or that. And I've heard so many people, excuse me there.
Yeah.
I've heard so many people like stories of like, they won't even talk to me anymore. My family members won't talk to me because, I didn't wear a mask that day. Or it's like, wow, really? It's like, I get it. It's a scary time and all that for everybody, but, just be honest. If you do or don't, accept it. Just don't meet around them while they're doing that stuff, but everybody has to ride that high horse and all that sort of stuff. And if you aren't doing it, well, you're a bad, horrible person and you just killed
killing grandma.
Look, do the best thing that's good for you, and I stay away from, if I'm going to see my in-laws or somebody, okay, I'll stay away from people. I'm going on vacation, I'll stay away from the mat. It'll make my wife happy. I won't get anybody sick. Yeah. And
it's a sensible boundary, right?
But it got to a point where it's like, all right, I haven't been training for 3 months and I'm miserable. I need to do something.
It's a sanity keeper, man. It's a sanity keeper. Then I would
just pick 1 or 2 guys. Yeah. Hey, let's meet over here. Let's do this over at this place or whatever. Obviously, I would say that no, we were not in any gyms. I don't give a crap. But I'd meet with 1 or 2 people, right? Yep. So if you all know, trusted and all this, this way I could have that safety thing. And make sure, hey, have you been or anything like that? No, we're fine, all that sort of stuff. So we checked on each other, made sure that nobody was feeling sick or anything. But
I think that's pretty much the system everybody used. You know, just sensibly, like keeping it a smaller
Yeah.
crowd, a consistent crowd. You got the sniffles, maybe skip it, et cetera, et
Yeah,
cetera.
there's plenty of times it's like, you know what, I don't feel, I got a little bit of, sniffle stuff going on. I'm going to stay home, especially at the very beginning, right? I mean,
Right.
if you're not doing whatever you can at the very start of this whole thing was like, be considerate to others. I'm not saying I ran out into the gym, right? I paid attention what was going on, what was the thing, and
Same thing you'd normally do if you had the sniffles.
same thing normally.
Maybe
right?
back up and stay
stay
home.
and let them know, that sort of stuff. So
Where is Bellum?
St. Paul off of Fairview.
Okay.
You should come visit.
I will, yeah, eventually.
So-
Trying to go to all of them eventually. Yeah.
Excellent. I do like a Saturday or early morning session.
What's
like
early
an-
on a Saturday?
Well, I do an 8:30 session because this way I get the day done.
Yeah, man. Love
And
it.
then I go do my other stuff, and I
Yeah.
go visit my father-in-law, and or go shoot stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
or
Other
all that
life
sort of
stuff.
So yeah, and this way I still have the rest of the day, to do whatever I want. Because you start at 11, then 11 to 1, then you have to sit there and BS for an hour and a half,
Man.
and then it's like 3:00, and all of a sudden it's like, well, hi honey, I said I'd be home like at
Yeah.
12:30. It's now 3.
I'm an early riser, and then like I'm in that same mindset where I like to have my day,
Mhm.
and I would love like a 7 or 8 a.m. on a Saturday. I don't mind the midday, but again, if you're a natural early riser, you've been up since 6, you're like waiting around 4 or 5 hours to go to jiu-jitsu.
Well, I've
I
been
roll.
doing that for years because most of the time I was usually teaching. So then I would, it's like, you know what? Nobody else is training during this time. The mat's empty. I would find people, hey, let's come in 8:30. And, the few people that did is like, this is great. I'm getting actual training time. I'm not teaching. I'm getting my time in to drill, roll, whatever, as a coach, or as a coach or athlete, my time. Because if not, then if I can't develop, then I can't develop my students. So that 8:30 time I've been doing that since what? Purple belt. So 8:30, and pretty much almost every Saturday, get up, train, get my time in. I still do that now, and I tell anybody who comes over, look, it's Saturday morning. I'm not teaching you a damn thing. I mean, I'll give tips and things if I see something good, or if they're close to something. But I tell them ahead of time, this isn't teaching time. I'm rolling training. You guys can drill, roll, whatever you want. Because if the instructor needs their time to develop and be better and keep the blade sharp, so to speak, and all that sort of stuff. So, and plus, I need to not be fat. So I
was going to
keep that
say,
going.
you started jiu-jitsu for you. There's reasons you like jiu-jitsu, so you should get to do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I mean, I love teaching. It's great. It's
Yeah.
It's one of the best experiences. I think I'm a pretty good instructor. I'm gonna toot my own horn. I think I'm pretty decent. I still have so much more to learn, but what I have learned, I can do pretty well. But that being said, it's like I need my time.
Yeah. Tell me about your teaching style. You got the standard, predictable way of teaching jiu-jitsu, or how do you like to go about it, I guess, is what I want to ask. How does one teach people jiu-jitsu?
I take the white belts, put them together, throw a knife on the middle, and say, go at it. No,
You'll learn real quick.
It varies. I kind of got to pay attention to who's doing what. I mean, for the most part, having a standard way of doing it is good for some beginning classes, things like that. You do your warm-ups, you do these techniques, whatever, 2 or 3 techniques, and then you roll. So that's pretty standard. I don't like to do running, running in a circle, all that sort of stuff.
Agreed.
It's like, I think that my time on the mat is limited, so you can have me do whatever else, right? But Man, you got bubbly water now.
Yeah,
Burpee.
that's a cardinal sin, and I do it all the time. If you're on a microphone, you don't want bubbly stuff. I do it every time, though.
I think you did that on purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not that professional of an operation here.
I want my Avion. No, but I don't like doing the running too often. Yeah, it warms you up, but I'd rather do drill specific or movement specific things towards something related to the mat. Whether, if you're doing lines of shooting double legs, that's fine, but running a circle, okay, you work up a little sweat, maybe you're loose, and I'd rather do functional movement towards the art.
Right.
But that being said,
that's 3 or 5 or 10 more reps of a shrimp. We were doing a warm up, but I'm still repping out a valuable skill.
And there's lots of ways you can, do them with partners, this and that and all that. But I want to maximize my time on the mat as it relates to the art itself. But then it varies, like with my fundamentals class is I'll go through a series. Like the first couple weeks, I'll teach only 1 or 2 things during the class. We're going to do this one and this one. Second week, this one and this one. And then like the third week, let me rephrase that. First week, teach 2 things. Second week, review the 2 things, add 2 more.
Yeah.
Third week, add maybe 1 or 2 more things to the other 3. And so we're building this. It doesn't have to be a progression. It can be similar things or whatever. But by the end of it, they've got the repetition on those ones. They're learning the new ones. And then they've got the third week, they're doing it. Fourth week, I'm bored out of my mind because everybody's repped everything so many times on so many people. Right. I might have to walk around and just correct 1 or 2 things. But for the most part, they're helping each other. Oh, no, here. They've drilled it so many times in that 4-week period that last day, I'm like, yay, I'm bored.
Right.
Hey, can I? No, we got it. Shut up.
That's when you throw the knife in the middle.
That's why I throw the knife in the middle. So I found that to be a very interesting thing. And plus, they're moving the whole entire time for that hour period. By the time they're doing all those repetitions, all right, do 20 of these, 20 of these, 20 of these, 20 of these. Then as soon as you're done, switch, grab a new bike, 20 of these. 20. I mean, they've done so many sets by the end of the hour where it's like, 4 weeks, they've just repped it out. It's like they don't have to do anything else.
Yeah. And depending on the fitness level, just that many repetitions in a row, I mean, it's a fair bit of a workout, too.
Oh, yeah. Constant move for an hour. It's like...
It's called exercise in any other setting, right?
Yeah. Well, because I found that like the typical show 1, 2, 3 techniques sort of thing, it's like, well, you do your warm-up. Then you do the technique. Then you drill but now you've cooled down and all this sort of stuff. So sometimes I want to be able to keep that sweat going throughout the whole thing. So I'll do that a lot for the fundamentals class. Right now we're doing adding stand-up striking for the fundamentals and people like that. So we're adding a little bit of Muay Thai because, again, self-defense fight. Yeah. So I want that aspect in there. And seeing where people's coordination is on that before, hey, let's jump into combatives and start doing this without you guys knowing how to throw, punch, defend, recognize, when somebody's setting something up, all that sort of stuff. So we're going to spend some time on that to really kind of develop different attributes and then build it back into like clinching and then groundwork and all that sort of stuff. But everything... kind of a throwback to Straight Blast Gym and Matt Thornton. He has what's called aliveness. And basically right away, you're trying to put things into use with live movement, that sort of thing right away, instead of just a static pattern. Drill the sweep, go to mount, do that, right? So right away, we're getting this live motion throughout the whole time. So we've got the stand-up right away. I'm having them, all right, here's your jab, cross, hook. Now let's jab, cross, hook, and move. Jab, so moving the whole time and adding that aliveness, that movement right away, so they don't become like little rock'em sock'em robots.
Yeah. So I drill the pass, 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 like in the essentials class or the fundamentals class. But at some point, why are you drilling the pass? What happens after the pass? And,
then
you're saying, let's get down to that chain of events and train it all the way through.
Yeah. So then sometimes we'll do the pass to, to this position,
Yeah.
and then chain them all together. And then by the end of it, you can do, all right, you guys are doing this really well. Let's add this variable in. And then they pick up that variable right away. Because it's like, all right, my body understands where to go and what to do and how to move. Then this isn't that big of a deal to add this new thing. So adding a new move at the end of the whole thing is like, oh, fine. Oh, now check this out. Add this over here.
Sure.
Picks it up right away.
Right.
So it kind of depends. Right now we're doing a little bit more competition sort of thing. So I'm doing lots of positional rolls, but after every round, I'll have them do 5, 10 burpees, 20 crunches. So they're moving the entire hour and a half.
Right.
So after every round, we're doing something.
Get used to being out of breath while you apply your technique, kind of deal.
Yeah, there's just no stuff. They're moving for an hour and a half, where everybody else is taking their break, hands on the hips, bending over, grabbing their drink of water. It's like, no.
All the way, baby. But I'm never stepping on the competition mat. So,
evil dictator says no. But honestly, if they need water, they can grab water. I'm not. I don't care as long as they're happy having fun, right? But it's that constant movement, and by the end of it, they're just done. They're cooked. So it varies. One of my favorites is fast flow rolls. And so
say that again.
Fast flow rolls.
All right, tell me what you mean.
You want to be, it's just like rolling. You want to be as technical as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Any submission, you catch and release. You don't hold anything any position for more than 3 seconds. And you do that for 10 minutes.
Yeah. So flow roll, but you put some tempo in it.
Put some tempo in it. You try and be as technical as possible. You can experiment with movement. And then you do that for 10 minutes. And then you do it for 2 more rounds of 10 minutes. So you have 30 minutes of fast action moving, without having to worry about that competition into it. You can think about, where can I move? Where can I go? How can I apply this? And that's one of the best conditioning drills that I've done, at least for myself. When I was doing that regularly, I would just outgas guys just because I could outmove them. And I wasn't moving fast per se. It just helped me improve my timing to where I wanted to be. So they're going here, I'm already on to the next thing. And as they're dying, because it's like, he's not stopping, it's like, all right, let's keep going. I'm tapping. I didn't even get to do anything. But that really helped my conditioning and doing it. And then again, you do something in between, right? You do 25 push-ups in between each round. You do 10 burpees in between each round. And then while everybody else is resting, you're doing a little bit more. So I find that really helpful.
This simple, small things of improving fitness. Fitness is so easy in the most general sense. So, do a little bit here, a little bit there, do a little bit more next week.
Unfortunately, tacos are easy too.
Oh, very, very easy.
There's a taco truck by my house. But yeah, no, I like those ones. Other than that, I try and be kind of flexible, but I kind of have an idea of what I like. I'll check in with Derek as far as like, where we're at with what he wants as far as progressions or what we're working on. Sometimes we'll work the same theme of similar thing throughout the week. Other times it's like, well, I want to spend more time on this because I'm just barely scratching the surface on it. So then I'll spend like, a few more weeks on it while he's moving on to other stuff, and then we'll catch back up later. But so just having fun, seeing where people are at and progressing. So
do you teach much? Obviously you do, but I guess like formally as its own thing. Do you teach much judo or any of that? Or is it just kind of melded in with the jiu-jitsu fundamentals?
More melded
classes?
in, and if I really want to have a good focus, and we have a Brandon, I'm going to butcher his last name, Buchholz or something like that. He's a judo black belt as well, and he just got his jiu-jitsu black belt. Mm-hmm. But he'll come in and he really likes to work the judo stuff too. He's pretty old school, so he can always give tips and all this and help us improve. A lot of my takedowns are semi-improvising. I've got takedowns, things like that, but a lot of them is where can I put myself in the best position? And there are also a lot of things where they're easy on my body. So, a lot of roly-poly stuff, weird takedowns, rolling knee bars. I love those old school stuff. I try not to give up my back too often.
Seems like good advice.
Yeah. And, like the old judo throws, you give up, you go for the throw and then they're choking you if you screw it up.
Right.
But that's also in a negative because that also prevented me from growing that other aspect of some throws, right? I was like, I don't want to give up my back. That's a bad idea. So lots of tomanagi, sweeps, maybe some little more funky takedowns. I used to have a really good double leg when I had knees. And that was good. I could, when I hit the double leg, I could easily, what do you weigh? If I may ask if that's inappropriate.
No.
Some people are sensitive.
Yeah, about 280, 285.
Yeah. Like with you, back in the day, I could easily done the double leg, lifted you up and spun you. And I would have been around 170.
Yeah.
But that was way back in the Nam.
Back in the Nam days.
Back in the Nam.
I like and I've only just started flirting with it, but I really like the judo foot sweeps. It seems like judo's violent poetry. I've said that a few times on this thing, but that seems like the absolute most poetic. This is all timing, and it looks so mysterious. It's like the invisible punch equivalent or whatever that was, the Muhammad Ali thing. I also like it because it's easy on my body. My poor partner was taking a few falls here and there, but it just seems like the best way to go about putting someone down, like the lowest energy, lowest likelihood of injury, etc., etc. And they just look so cool. It just looks like an accident, and they do them well,
Yeah, I was with one of the students. I'd been teaching like foot sweeps for like a couple weeks, and nobody's even trying them. So then I was going with this one guy, and like my foot comes forward, he sweeps me, beautiful sweep. I'm on my side. I'm like, oh, that was great, and he was so happy. I was like. He's like, I got that from your class. I'm like, son of a bitch, you actually paid attention. God, now I know not to, take him too lightly now because it's like, all right, he's watching out for foot sweeps and actually trying them. Because I went for weeks teaching him, right? So I was like,
you just got to teach him wrong now, and then it won't happen again.
Oh no, now I'm going to do the counter.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's the process, right? You learn the thing, now you got to know the counter.
But I was very happy because it was beautifully done. Yeah. I mean, I was like, you're tying up, he's pushing me up against a wall, I'm pushing back off. Right. And then next thing I know, my foot goes here. I'm like, you bastard. But it's like, you showed that. I was like, yeah, good. I'm happy for you.
Yeah. As you're writhing in pain on the ground, I'm proud moment.
But it is really a nice sweep. So it's like, but I'm happy when I get caught with stuff from the students. It's like, sweet. This stuff is working.
Yeah.
Stuff.
It proves that you're a good coach, right? If your students don't get stuff on you, eventually, let's say, what are you even doing?
I don't care if I get beat, tapped, or anything like that. Thing is, like when I'm really serious about it, and you're progressing and I see that next progression, I just don't want to make it easy. I want you to be, I want you to tap me out. I want you to progress. I want you to be better than I ever was or could have been or anything like that. Right. But given that, if you're aiming to be better, I'm going to make it as hard as possible for you. Cause I don't want to give it up. Shit. I still got fight in me. I like to scrap. I like to have a good tussle and all that sort of stuff, but I'm not going to make it easy when you're at the points that you need to progress.
Yeah.
If we're, playing, moving, having fun, okay, great. I've tapped plenty of times. I'll tap plenty more. But when you're at those moments where it's like, it could be that point where it's that next level sort of jump, no way am I going to just give it up. Oh, wait, I'll stop a minute. The thing, you stop it. Oh, now if you get the armbar here and take the submission away from him and talk to, it's like, dude, that's not cool.
Well, it seems like there's also logic behind like people are going to reach certain heights, but they're going to get it from push from you. Like coaching, teaching, practice, all that. But like, you also got to push people. They'll get this high, but if you were pushing them and leaning in and making it hard, they'll end up getting this high.
Oh yeah. And it's paying attention to where they're so close to that next sort of level is. Everything else in between, that's fine. I tap all the time. I'll roll with people. Hey, good. They're close to it. Everything's technical. It's great.
Yeah.
But when we're having a hard scrap, it's like, well, we're rolling. We're going, right? I'm not here to be friendly guy. I'm here to try and get my roll in, get my submission, all that sort of stuff. So I don't want to make it easy on them, just because, that's doing them a disservice.
Definitely.
If a lot of people equate, jiu-jitsu is life, and jiu-jitsu teaches us. Yeah, and if I make crap easy on you, what does that teach you? That it's like, there's an easy out here, right? No, you have to learn the crappy stuff. You have to know that things aren't always going to be fair, and you have to know that neon belly is on purpose, and I'm going to make your life suck as much as possible. And I'll go there as many times as I need to until you figure out how to escape.
Yeah.
But I don't bully him or anything like that, right? But it's just enough pressure to where it's, all right, you can work out of this. And so many people have panicked, have you ever had the stupid choke done to you? 2 hands on the neck sort of thing. It's called something else, but I don't like saying that.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
No.
So I've done that to guys and gals alike. One-handed, two-handed, doesn't matter. I put my hand on their neck, and what do you think they do?
I'm guessing panic. Yeah.
They freak out. It doesn't matter. I've guys 6'5", 250, all that sort of stuff. Ladies and all. So, they panic. They try and peel that off or get that way. Well, what happens? You peeled that off. I'm still in the same position. I'm going to choke you again, and until you figure out you're not in a bad place. What do you have when I'm extending my arm here? Oh, when you see that light bulb hit, then they reach out and break my arm. And I've had a few times where it's like, oh God, I should have been a little more careful with that. They snapped that pretty good.
They've learned that lesson.
They've learned that lesson, right? But it's, I want to make it difficult on them, but I want them to be able to see the way out.
Yeah.
Some instances, some people respond to telling them. Others, you need to feel this. You need to understand the pressure and all this sort of stuff and all that, and where that's going to come in. It's, there's no other way around it. You got to understand the suck. So
yeah. It's imperative to your response to the self-defense situation. You're going to respond with what you've practiced.
Yeah.
If that's nothing, then you'll have no response.
Yeah.
If it's panic, you'll panic.
Yeah.
Right?
And in some cases, I feel bad because there's some guys that work through like claustrophobia and all that sort of thing, and they don't tell me that ahead of time. And
that's on them, baby.
So then I've gone through and I've made life miserable for them. And then like at the end, they're like, that was too much. Why is that? I'm claustrophobic. Dude, you should tell me these things. I can work around that and still push you so you can work through that. I've got a guy now like that, right? So like he hates being on his back. He's got great scramble. So what do? I put it on his back. And once he starts to freak out, it's like, breathe. Calm down. Where are you at? What are your answers? And then you can see it kind of go, okay, he's not actually trying to hurt me. I can work through this, and then he starts to work through the process and all that sort of stuff. Right. So, because coaches shouldn't be there to bully you or beat up on you, sort of thing. There's time for a scrap, but, they're there to push you, they're there to make you face what's uncomfortable. Hopefully I can do that. And when it comes to the point where it's like I'm too old and beat up, guess what? I've been working on guys who can still do that for me. And now I may no longer be the hammer, but I've got other hammers, and they can do that for me. But they're being trained with the same sort of thing to help you progress and not bully or beat you up or anything like that. We just want to see everybody improve and get better. Yeah. That's really what it comes down to.
It's a nice segue into the final thing I usually ask people. If I'm a white belt in jiu-jitsu, in the most general sense, give me advice. What's your advice for white belts?
Invest in ibuprofen.
That's the Masters Division white belts.
Masters Division. whenever I talk to beginners, coming in fresh, it's like, I want to try and get across a couple things. So first of all, I go over the rules, say tap if anything hurts, things like that. But I tell them, first go at a pace that's comfortable. You've got nothing to prove or anything, or competing with anyone, especially when you don't know what you're doing. So just take the time, learn, tap. Now when it comes to more in depth, is like, when you're out there, just pay attention, just learn where to go, what to do, what are the positions, and then, just pay attention to what's going on. You don't have to compete right off the bat with whoever it is. It's fun, and people with no experience, yeah, let's scrap, this is great. Ow, my neck. Okay. Take your time to learn, take your time to work the escapes, learn the positions. So not everything is scary, so you don't freak out and hurt yourself. So many people want to rush right into it. And maybe that's me sounding like old grandpa or something. It's like, take your time. Don't get hurt. Just see what's happening. Pay attention. What are they doing? You don't have to panic. You don't have to do all that stuff. And then you'll learn and progress quickly, and they're going to help you. It's, you're going to go through the steps. What are the positions? Learn your escapes. That's a big one. Everybody, the submission. Yeah, that's cool. I want, learn how
but
to.
You can't get out of mount, so your submission don't mean shit.
You can't get out of mount. You can't. You're trying to do a berimbolo. It's your first day and you haven't, and you just hurt your neck. Good job. Learn the positions, learn how to move, and work your escapes. And your first job, you're gonna suck. It's okay. Embrace it, because you're learning something new. It's you're learning a new language, so to speak.
Quite literally.
But it's like, you have to learn, the letters, the words, the vowels, the context, all this, right? You can't immediately go, I'm learning German, Krankenwagen, and be immediately able to speak in the Deutsch and the Achtung. I can't speak German, and I've probably offended a lot of people.
Clearly, yeah. You're not going to jump in with sentences and lectures in jiu-jitsu.
No, just take your time. I love it when the guy who's been doing it a week, well, this is how I finish omoplata. Dude, you can't even stand up yet. But no, shut up. Just take your time and learn. So many people want to rush and want to get into the rolling and go as hard as you can right off the bat. And I try and slow people down so, one, they can understand you want to do this for a long time. Not 2 years. Oh, I got my blue belt and my back hurts. Oh, my neck hurts. That was great. 2 years. I think I'm done. Well, then whatever we've done poorly, because you shouldn't have to be able to do that.
Right. So what about blue belt then? So I make it to blue belt.
Blue belt.
Pretend I'm a blue belt.
I look at each one differently. For me, I kind of try and figure out who likes what game and all that sort of stuff, and kind of that. But for me right now, I'm on a focus of getting your fundamentals down, and just getting that baseline, right? So even into blue belt, when you start getting from blue belt to mid blue belt or sort of something like that, sharpen those fundamentals as much as you can. And from there on, you can develop your game however you want. Now, you're a big dude. Doesn't mean you can't have a movement game or, some funky other sort of game. You totally can. You just have to understand how to do that and how to best move for you. So blue belt, I really want people to really develop those fundamental skills and have them as sharp as they can be, because that's going to be your baseline to understand how to better move into the weird stuff.
Yeah.
And from there you can develop the purple belt is going to be like, is kind of the flash belt. It's like, It's like, yeah, check this out. I can do this weird inverted, funky platypus guard or whatever the crap they're doing now. But they tend to be a little flashier because they can, right? They've got
you kind of know jiu-jitsu at this point.
You kind of know jiu-jitsu. You can throw out some weird stuff. Your joints usually still work if you're in the younger set. So you can develop different games, and your games are going to change all throughout this whole thing. And then the purple belts are kind of flashy, but the blue belts, I really want to stick with that white to mid blue. After that, it's like experiment, try stuff. I'll never not tell somebody not to do something unless it gets them injured. It's like, don't do that. Here's why: you're going to get hurt if you do this. But that's usually something mechanical. But you can do that. You can develop your game. For a while, you can play topside turtle. You can play mount. I love guard. I love playing all sorts of guard, except half. I hate half guard. But all sorts, deep half, all that sort of thing. Just not half. I'd rather pass it. Sorry, I'm diverging because I'm thinking about half guard.
I love half guard, and I'd rather pass half guard. Yeah.
But your game is going to change and develop so many different ways. I think from white to mid blue, you should really refine your fundamentals. And the reason for that is the more you develop that base, one is you can better understand the movements, but that technique, the more you work on technique and develop that, the more it'll stay with you during the length of your career. Strength, speed, agility, yeah, that goes all away. Age, you get older, all that goes away. Injuries start to rack up, all that sort of thing, right? So what do you have left? Technique. The better your technique is, the
pyramid thing.
So, yep,
build that foundation as wide as you can.
Yep.
Nice thick layer. It'll support all the flashy stuff above it.
Well, then you can do whatever it is you want. I used to do all, like lots of tournaments, and it was the rolling knee bar, and I watched Oleg Toktarov in one of the UFCs. Oh, that was cool. So then I started just trying it and doing it, and I used to do that in tournaments, right? It also caused me one of my injuries when I was too lax, and was trained with someone that I didn't really know well. But that's going to support all that stuff, like you said. Then you can do whatever flashy thing you want. You can develop your game, because when you meet someone who knows how to deal with those flashy things, what do you have to fall back on? Oh, he's stopping me here. He's stopping my turn. He's keeping me from rolling. He's got my weight down. It's like, what do I have left? Back to the basics. The basics are usually what's going to save your butt in the end.
It's the obligatory Hodger Gracie reference. Like, not a lot of flash most of the time. Pretty basic stuff.
This is okay. I'm totally stealing this from Tom. He's like, it's basically mashed potatoes. Gourmet mashed potatoes, though. I mean, it's the good stuff, right? It's so it's nothing different than what you're learning your first few days, but he's doing it at a really high level. I was rolling with Chris McCune once, and I was like, oh, I'll try this roly-poly sort of thing. I went to spin. He made a heavy leg. I just buried my face in the mat, and he's laughing at me. It's like, you bastard. Because he knew how to stop, and he wasn't letting me pull away any weird stuff on it.
He's going older brother on you.
He's like, settle down. But then purple belt, flash, fun. You get to develop that. Same with a little bit of brown belt, but the brown belts are sharper. After that, it's all becomes timing and technique. There's not much difference between brown and black. It just becomes, that level of ability with the technique, doing it live, but that essence of timing. That you're not just relying on your speed or strength or agility or being able to force something. Timing. And timing gives you the illusion of speed. If you do something well enough, oh, they're coming here and you're already on to the next thing. Well, you've recognized it. You've done it. You've seen what they're going to do. So you're just moving and reacting before they're able to finish their movement. You're on to the next thing. And you've already countered it and something like that. So that's a big thing for brown belts out there is, the more you understand that timing and technique, the better you'll be able to see what they're doing and not just be able to rely on stuff like that agility and strength and all that. But that's probably the biggest thing. After that, it's like just timing, that sort of thing. But at least that's my take on it. It's timing. The white belt has no timing, but it progresses, eventually the timing gets smaller and smaller as you progress. Here's white belt, blue belt might be a little bit shorter. Purple is like to here, and then brown to black, they're like really close to each other.
Tiny little slivers of, yeah.
And nowadays everybody's, the coaching is so much better than when I was coming up, and everybody's progressing more quickly. So they're getting through these belts more quick. Something that took 13, 14 years, now it's like closer to 8, unless you're one of those California trust fund kids that all you do is surf and jiu-jitsu, and that's all you do. Then you get into the range of like 4 years, because that's all you're doing. The kids are fantastic because, they're starting so early. If I would have had that when I was growing up, it was like, by the time you get to 18, it's like, wow, that's a different level of ability. They've been doing it for 10, 20 years, right?
To look at the handful of kids who compete often, and they're like 8 and 10, and even some of them that are younger, and you see like how good they are.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't know a lot about jiu-jitsu, but that looks right. And you're a kid.
These kids are
just
phenomenal.
To see the level of crazy that's going to be taking place in 10 years, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be wild.
Yeah. And a lot of that is because there's so much availability to knowledge and almost too much. I mean, everybody's got their own DVDs and video content and whatever, but the coaches are fantastic. I mean, shit, Minnesota's got so many fantastic coaches.
You can't, I mean, you drive down the street, you bump into a jiu-jitsu gym, at least in and around the Twin Cities. I mean, every corner, it's everywhere. And everybody might have a different focus or take on things like that, but the level and ability, and they might have a different take on how to coach and all that, but there's just such a great bunch of people here. It's fantastic to see. When I first came here, there was like 3, maybe 4 black belts total in the state, and that's just, it's there's a lot out there, and just fantastic coaches, people, good people trying to do good things, with like, We Defy, Tap on Cancer, things that are giving back a little bit too, but it's gotten to that level to where it's so much more of a sport and more well-known that now it's like, hey, let's give a little something back. And I think that's fantastic. Expand the meaning of it all a little bit.
Yeah. And that's kind of been something that I've always wanted. I knew I don't really have a big interest in competing, but I always wanted to be able to be a decent coach. And that was the way that I wanted to give back a little bit, is I want to be able to coach people. And sometimes I'll get those stories. Yeah, I was able to use that in this instance, or it's like, it makes me happy. I was like, there's something that they learned here, they're able to put to good use. So that makes me pretty happy. But
yeah, man.
So excellent.
Anything else? I think we covered it, man.
Unless you got any other questions, or no. Well, thank you for having me out.
Yeah, man, I appreciate
it was really good, and enjoyed the experience. It kind of gets me out of my introverted comfort zone.
Same
sort
here,
of
man.
thing. So
Same here.
I was like, who is this guy messaging me on this podcast? It was like, So I growled at you for like a whole day. I was like, who is this? Why are they talking to me?
Every time I schedule one, I growl at myself. I'm like, it's fun, but do I really want to do it?
Yeah. So for me, this was, kind of good experience, because it's like,
cool,
dude, get out of the house, get out of the gym, go try something new.
That's right.
So thank you for the opportunity and having me out. So
I appreciate you coming out.
So come out to Bellum and check.
Definitely, yeah. So, I'm getting all of them eventually. So
eventually, but we'll play. We're mostly nice,
And it's early on Saturday. I love that.
Early is good.
Let me move on with my day.
Early helps. So all right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.